Very impressive if you remember my bio. Even the people that have it before them mess up, so. Drop me in the deepest, darkest part of the ocean, where even evil hides in fear and prey. The waters wash away my existence. You could never drown my spirit. Wrap my neck in the strongest rope your hands could find, pulling and suffocating until tears race down my face and wait for my fiery soul to separate from my body. You could never control my voice. Strip me of everything every human being deserves: love, respect, understanding. Leave me standing naked with nothing but laughter seeping into my ears. You could never take away my dignity. I am here. We are here to stay. How we doing tonight, y'all? Yeah! Good crowd. I like people that talk about. Yeah, all right. So again, my name is Portia Bayu, aka The Poetic Activist. You can find me on Instagram and all the socials at The Poetic Activist. It is Women's History Month, y'all. Can we make some noise? Now, I will say I know Black History Month did just end, but if you're Black, we celebrate all 365 days a year. So it's still Black History Month to me, but it's also Women's History Month. So I want to share a poem that I actually just finished. I've never shared this before. And when it comes to women, especially when it comes to talking about Women's History Month and feminism, Black women are left out of the conversation too many times. And so I feel like I would be remiss to even talk about women's history without talking about some of the amazing Black women that have been taken from us too soon by the hands of people who did not see our value and our worth. So this piece is called Remember Her Name. I'll just finish this, so I don't gotta memorize it. When I say Rakia Boyd, what emotions do you feel? Do your bones follow after your heart and break into 400 years worth of pieces? Do your eyes peer pressure you into making your face the new home for Niagara Falls? Do your ears bleed from the ringing sound of injustice, crying from the grave where she rests when I say Sandra Bland? Do your fast-paced feet abruptly stop wherever you stand? Does your neck guide your head to look up to the clouds and take a moment of silence to remember her life? Does it feel like a knife has been driven into your spine as you stand paralyzed with anguish when I say Nia Wilson? Does your chest become filled with a fiery anger? Do your fists clench and involuntarily raise to heaven in solidarity? Does your soul weep for hers? Do your lips get stuck, unable to form enough words to adequately explain your excruciating heartache when I say Tatiana Jefferson? Do your hands shake with fury? Does your heart melt into a pool of sorrow? Do your hands catch your face as your throat attempts to vomit a why from your belly when I say Corinne Gaines? Do you say, who? Do you say, well? Do you say, maybe if? Do you stir the pot mixed with dirty ingredients for one recipe of justification? Do you entertain the devil or the angel on your shoulders as one entity whispers doubt loud enough for you to second guess your grieving when I say Breonna Taylor? Can your mind even recollect the story? Do your fingers race to Google? Do you have to jog your memory to remember that she still needs justice? Do you double tap her picture and continue on with your day as her body continues to lay at unrest without accountability, not being taken for her death when I say Raya Milton, Dominique Phelps, Ashanti Carmen, Jazeline Ware? Do you feel conflicted? Do you feel conviction as if your belief about a lifestyle you don't agree with somehow justifies the ending of their lives when I say Black woman? Does your mouth even move? Does your heart flutter? Do you utter a sound? Do you pick up your feet, ready to go tell it on the mountain that black women are a fountain from which loyalty flows, loyalty that is often not reciprocated. See, too many times we have been backbone for folk that can't even remember our names, folk that choose to look the other way when our bodies, our minds, our souls are in jeopardy. I wonder how many graves must continue to shed tears. How many of the living must continue to live in fear of existing? How many times must we set ourselves on fire without anyone standing by, ready to heal us with water? Let us not forget that behind the Martin stood a Coretta. In front of every vendetta against black and brown bodies, a black woman has played her drum, keeping the rhythm of perseverance going while her own is threatened. We are tired of feeling threatened. We are tired of feeling less than. And the day this world remembers our names, the day this world celebrates the blood still running through our veins, is the day we can finally, truly exhale. I love black women, y'all. I love myself, I love my mama, my grandmama, my friends, all my people. So shout out to all my people. I want to talk about appropriation. Y'all ready? See, I'm on the post. So this is usually when I get on stage, I say, if there's anything I say that offends you, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I do not apologize. But we can talk about it after. You want to have dialogue? We can talk about it after. But I'm not going to be apologetic about the truth. Can I get an amen? I like you. I like to put you on staff. I wrote this piece back in 2017, and it's just so funny how one of the things I hate about being a poet is when I write something about suffering or anger or just things that really just piss us off, and years later it's still relevant. Like, I hate that, right? So I dedicate this piece to every culture vulture out in the world, specifically to, I want to say, in light of recent events, Travis Kelce's new hairdo, which is also known as the fade, created by black people. So, this poem is called Appropriation. A penny for your thoughts. No, a penny for your culture. Let them tear your dignity to shreds. Allow the vultures to devour what's left. Let them braid their hair and give it a new name. Nigga is a universal term. Don't get angry when they use it. Ebonics don't get mad when they abuse its slang. Let them feast on watermelon, cornbread, grits, greens, heart attack, mac and cheese. Chicken wings is weed. Chicken bones tossed with plenty meat be the perfect example of how they do us. Use us for our flavor, then trade us for a napkin. Wipe any evidence of our presence away from their lips. They pitch us middle fingers with their eyes, then hop in Volkswagens, blasting Kendrick. Silly rabbit tricks ain't for melanin. Play no games, we don't. Tricks better have my money. Reparations we're owed. Reparations need come from the funds they allocate into the dissipation of my people. Child, would you like a bowl of appropriation for breakfast of champions? Swing your gold medals in our faces that you built off our backs. Like it or not, Africa is the motherland. Don't you dare put bantu knots in your head and call them fun buns to pretend like you don't understand why we looking at you sideways. And no, Katy Perry ain't create no baby hairstyle. We've been slicking edges with toothbrushes since Phantom CJ stepped on the scene. Well, you guys wear weaves. Isn't that the same thing? What you talking about? Willis, please. In the words of the great Rosa Parks, nah. Our lives are not highways you can ride on like long, silly rascals, be flat and see. Don't go together like flip-flops. Don't go in stormy weather like Shea Moisture was not originally created for Heather. Some of us are no longer in the sunken place. We woke AF. You not gonna catch us sleeping no more. I don't care how many black friends you think you got. I promise what you just said was racist. I don't care what the case is. If you don't see nothing wrong with painting black on a non-black face, you just might be racist. But real talk, the essence of who we are is not a drug. It is not heroin to be shot up whenever it pleases the soul. It is not a tool to be used in whack commercials and marketing where our spirit is evident but our skin is nowhere to be found. It is not a mask to be worn to the club when you're feeling like you got a high jungle fever. Nor is it a costume because you think Miley and Kylie made it look cute. It is not a fad or a trend or what's in my skin, and everything it represents is all gold everything. Something to be admired and adorned, Not a jacket to be worn when it's convenient, but when persecuted, ignored, enough is enough. Now see, if folks was half as dedicated to being educated as they are to appropriating, then maybe we could get somewhere. But until then, we're going to keep giving y'all the side eye, knowing y'all care all about our culture, but not for our skin.
Do I? Oh, wow. Yeah, let's give it up for poetic actress. Yeah. Hey, y'all know what time it is? Y'all know what time it is?
5:15.
No? It's interview time! So, what we also like to do is social Saturdays. We like to mix it up and open up the floor for questions. So I'm going to ask the lovely poetic activist just one question. And if there's maybe like 2 audience members who would like to ask her a question as well, we'll open it up for you to ask questions. Okay? So maybe just think of a question, a good one, an intriguing one. Yeah. Poetic activist.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Yo.
Yo.
You tore it down, son.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So I was just curious, can you share a little bit about your journey? How did you get to where you are right now?
So I think I'm coming up on 8 years doing poetry. So my very first time doing spoken word was in 2015 on stage in my old church. I feel like church is always the origin story. And from there, like creativity has always been in me. So I come from a family of singers and writers and artists and things like that. My first love was music, play piano, play violin. But I've always loved to write. And so when it came to poetry, being a black woman in America, we know we are the most disrespected, unprotected person in America, right? And so I had this fear of, if I share what I have to say, then I'm going to be labeled as a stereotypical angry black woman because, you know, I tell things as it is, as you see in my poems. And God really spoke to me and was like, I need you to stop being fearful because there's a message that you have for people. And so once I stepped out and did my first poem, that just opened the door for my first ever booking in 2016 when I first got paid. I was like, oh, okay. And thus the poetic activist was born. So yeah, I've been on a journey of healing myself, which has made me a much better artist. When I first started doing poetry, I was very social justice focused. Nothing wrong with that. But God spoke to me and was like, yeah, I'm gonna need you to start sharing your personal life. And I'm like, I don't want these things in my business. But there was a healing and things that I had gone through that I knew other people could benefit from. And so my very first vulnerable poem, which I'll be sharing later, was a poem about mental health and a poem about talking about the depression and mental health issues in the black community that don't get enough attention. And so that led me to become a very vulnerable artist. On any workshop, any space I teach, I'm always talking about vulnerability and embracing discomfort. So yeah, that's how I became a writer.
Yeah, look it up.
Yeah.
So, if there's anyone in the audience, this beautiful audience, if there's anyone who would love to ask this lady a question, yeah? Do we have a brave second person, maybe? A second person? We got one person. We got 2, we got maybe a 3. So our only request is first you say your name, and then try to keep your question and answer pretty short. Maybe it's like 1 or 2 minutes. Hi.
Hi, my name is Francesca, and thank you for performing today. It was amazing. So my question is, I want to know what part of yourself do you pull from when you are on stage and you're performing and you're blessing us with your words? I just want to know if you can answer that however you want to answer that.
I would say I pull from what I would want to hear. When I listen to other people's artistry and poetry, like, I want to hear you. I don't want to hear what you think is going to be dope or what you think is going to get the most claps or applause. I want to hear you, your story. How does your art reflect your journey? So that's how I channel it. You know, I think about, what do I want to hear? All right, let me bring that to the stage.
Hey, I know you. Did you perform here in the past? Yeah.
She's dope, y'all.
Blessings. Hey, Queen.
Hi, Queen.
I came to see you today. Thank you already for filling my cup. I appreciate you. My question to you is,
what do you say to church folk that say you need to talk more about God?
I say get out of the four walls before you start judging people. So I'm one of those people. I'm telling you, I've been labeled the rebel. I've been labeled the one that goes against the grain, and that's what I've been called to do. A lot of times people live in their bubbles, and I know the calling over my life. I rock with Jesus. Like, let's get one thing straight. But I've been called to leave the four walls, and though there are a lot of people who maybe your ministry is inside of church, that doesn't mean that other people's isn't. And a lot of times we criticize and ridicule people for what doesn't look like our lives, right? And so what I have to say is, open your ears to have conversation before you start judging, before you say your piece, right? Listen to other people's story, and don't think that you are the end-all be-all, especially when it comes to Christianity. We have a bad rep with that, and I say, hey, you're going to have to answer to God for the things that you say and do. So, you know what I mean? But,
Thank you, and amen to that.
All right, we're going to do one more question. One more. You ready? You ready? She doesn't even see me. Hi. You ready?
Where's the person? Hi, I'm Rachel. Thank you again for your poetry. I'm just curious, how do you go about memorizing your poems? Like, is there a special trick or set of tricks that you use when you try to memorize like your new poem that you're going to memorize?
yes. So it's funny, when I first started out, I was like, I have to memorize every piece. I will never get on stage and read a poem. And that's how I was. Like, for years, I just was like, I don't want to be reading stuff. I want to memorize. So one thing I do is I read it over and over and over. I record a voice note, and so I'll just listen to that. And then a lot of times, I'll just recite my poems while I'm doing everyday things, or I'll put TV on, just as a form of like, I want distraction to be around to make sure I get it down. Especially being in events where, sometimes people don't know how to respect the mic. And they be talking, and so I can't be getting distracted by people who are not attentive. So I'm like, let me make sure I know how to get this down, even with distractions and noise all around. So yeah, but I would say it takes on average, if I'm really doing it, maybe 1 to 2 weeks to memorize a piece. But if I have to, I'll memorize it sooner. But now I'm like, I'm too busy and I got a lot of things, so I'm gonna read these poems. You say, I'm still gonna get the same energy, but I'm gonna read these poems.
Yeah, thank you so much. Those are wonderful answers. Hey, let's give it up one more time for Paul.